After years of dwelling in development hell, Eddie Murphy has finally returned to his iconic cop character Axel Foley in the new Netflix sequel, Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. When Murphy broke out with both 48 Hours and the 1984 original, he became a powerhouse as a comedic actor with a penchant for crossing over into action. However, he was never quite fully seen as an action star like Bruce Willis became when he overshadowed his career in moonlighting with the movie Die Hard. In the 90s, Murphy tried to take a swing at a more serious tone with the action vehicle Metro from 1997, and we take a look at this less talked about film from his filmography on this episode of Revisited. When it comes to Murphy and cop characters, it's hard not to draw comparisons to the cultural milestone that is Axel Foley. It's the perfect marriage of comedy and action, as the character is a good detective that has a talent for using his street smarts to crack his cases, all while using his quick-thinking, fast-talking abilities to con his way through a myriad of situations. When it came time to do Part 3, among the number of behind-the-scenes stories about the production, it was said that Eddie wanted to play Axel more serious in that entry. According to Bronson Pinchot, who portrayed Surge in the Beverly Hills Cop franchise, when he did his scenes with Eddie, he noticed that he was in low spirits since he was coming off a number of recent flops. After being tied to a certain personality for a large chunk of his career, it's understandable that at a certain point, Murphy would likely want to change things up and explore more of his range. And since Murphy wanted to play Axel more seriously, there are certain scenes that would explore that a bit, as Axel showcased a sliver of a temper when he took the murder of Chief Inspector Todd very personally.
That's him! That's the fucking guy I'm looking for!
Beverly Hills Cop 3 didn't hit with fans for many reasons, and the more serious action film that Murphy would hope for would come in the form of Metro.
Before we continue with our video, here's a reminder to click the Store tab on any of our JoBlo channels and browse our collection of the latest and freshest designs in our merch store. Go get you some.
Right off the bat, you're treated to an ominous but flashy credit sequence. There's no pop song in this opening. It's gritty and the temperature of the vibe feels cold, despite taking place in another area of California. We're introduced to Murphy playing Scott Roper, a hostage negotiator for the San Francisco Police Department. The film eases us in with some early levity as Roper is revealed to be playing the ponies, and he throws a humorous fit when his horse doesn't come in.
Cozy girl, you lazy you lazy hag-ass!
From there, we get a sequence that shows why Roper is one of the best at his practice. A hysterical bank robber, played here by Donald Logue, who would be showing up in Blade a year later, has taken hostages when his attempted robbery goes wrong. Roper goes in for a face-to-face, and the tension keeps ratcheting up with every second the robber gets more unhinged. Murphy doesn't try to humorously fast-talk his way through this situation. He instead tries to be as calming as possible, as one guard has already been shot and a room full of frightened people are at the whim of a madman.
Now, if you've been with us, you've seen the bus.
The whim of a madman. I like that.
This whole scene sets up what an astute, analytical mind Roper has and how he can calculate a situation in mere seconds. The kind of science that goes into reading a hostage situation is explored more as Roper gets a new partner, Kevin McCall, played by Michael Rappaport. McCall is a sharpshooter on the force who is graduating into the negotiator field, and Roper is taking him under his wing. There isn't too much by way of a buddy cop comedy here, as it becomes the C-plot of the movie. But what is there is pretty fun, as the duo have a good dynamic and the scenes of negotiation training are interesting. The film would have definitely benefited from more of this plot, and to show the audience more about what goes into perfecting their talent. The funniest scene in Metro also comes from this plot, and it looks like it might be the only part where Eddie was willing to go all out improvising, as he plays the voice of the hostage taker during a training simulation.
How the hell you fake pig! Screw you, man! You, dude!
Another subplot where more of the comedy comes from is when Roper dances around rekindling the romance between him and his ex Veronica, played by Carmen Ejogo. It's implied that she and Roper used to have a pretty serious relationship, even having a dog together with whom they now share custody. We're introduced to the fractured couple as Scott wants to get back with Veronica, and he's bothered by the fact that she's seeing a baseball player. This subplot builds some character, but for the most part, it gets pretty cliched.
What do you want from me?
Obviously something I can't have anymore.
Don't you dare try to make me feel guilty. The whole time we were together, you went out of your way to prove you didn't need me. And now suddenly, for one night, you need me again?
And while the two are sometimes at odds, there are also some bright spots in the relationship as they try to recapture some of the magic, and Eddie gets to play around with some fun, flirty humor.
Naked.
Naked.
There you go, say naked in Tahiti.
Hold on, let me picture you naked.
Oh, look at this sun bouncing off your ass.
The first 20 or so minutes are kept light enough that Murphy gets to indulge in familiar territory. Then the movie switches gears when the main story starts. Scott's friend, Lieutenant Sam Baffett, played here by Art Evans, wants to make a quick stop to question a possible lead on a case that he's working on. Baffett meets with a man named Michael Corda, played here by Michael Wincott. Corda seems very mild-mannered and unassuming, until his true nature is revealed, and he murders Sam rather brutally. Scott finds Sam's body and starts pursuing Corda, and this pursuit would go on for the rest of the film. While people may be getting Beverly Hills Cop deja vu with this plot device, it's here that you can see the juxtaposition in the characters played by Eddie. In Metro, although Eddie once again partakes on a quest to find a close friend's killer, his Scott Roper has a darker edge to him, as he becomes obsessed with vengeance.
Sola said to keep you out of this.
I don't give a shit what Solis said. Anybody get any information on this fucking quarter, you tell me about it.
You can't kill me. Or what if we got into a struggle and my gun went off? Can I kill you then?
When they finally meet face to face, Corda develops his own personal rivalry with Roper, and the two engage in a game of cat and mouse throughout the movie. This becoming more personal with both men is what really amps up the tension and makes Metro a heavier kind of film. Eddie's Roper is a master of keeping cool during hostage situations, but when Corda attempts to hit him in his personal life, he doesn't hold back one bit.
You don't give a f***. I don't give a f*** neither, man. I don't give a f*** about you. F***er. Try me. F***ing try me and see what the f***. Get the f*** off me. You try me.
Wincott brings his own intensity to the table, which is especially jarring when we're introduced to him as a pretty personable, cultured guy. Then, he puts his gruff voice to work, and his Corda straddles the line of being a psycho killer.
Man, he said he had the cops paid off.
Not the cop that showed up at my door. $10 million, Clarence! $10 million dollars!
Where Metro excels where Beverly Hills Cop didn't is in the action and thrills department. The numerous hostage negotiation scenes put our hero characters in uncertain situations, where the factors can effectively build up the suspense. After we're given a more basic scenario in the beginning, later in the movie, Corda makes a standoff of his own, and plays with different rules that shows Roper that he's dealing with someone of a different breed. And when things go to hell, the action gets going as we're treated to a lengthy chase scene through the streets of San Francisco. It's a pretty fun sequence, and the movie takes advantage of the city's treacherous roads. It also goes on for a long time, and it could have been worthy of a finale for the movie. Interestingly, when Metro was in production, Michael Bay's The Rock was hitting theaters, and featured a very similar sequence with a high-speed chase through the same streets. You even see an ad for The Rock in the background in one of the shots. They both even involve the city's famous cable cars and their respective chases. The action and suspense scenes in Metro are plentiful, It's easy to see that this is what Eddie had in mind when he wasn't enthusiastic about doing Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Yeah, I like to be able to go and do do a action, gritty, macho popcorn movie. This movie gave me the opportunity to play a more of a dramatic role than I've ever played before.
Metro opened on the Martin Luther King holiday weekend of 1997 and would actually place second under Chris Farley's Beverly Hills Ninja. The movie would gross $74 million globally on a $55 million budget. Thomas Carter, who directed the film, admitted that he probably shouldn't have made it an R-rated movie, and he thinks that was a factor in the lukewarm reception. The film was never regarded as one of Eddie's best, but he mentions in an interview with our own Chris Bumbray that he actually likes the film.
And I always grew up watching you in action movies too. Like, I love this movie did Metro that I really love. I really liked it as a kid.
Yeah, I like Metro too.
And
Michael Rappaport, however, was less forgiving, as he calls the movie whack. And he said, quote, "It was really disappointing to me. The banter, the talking that you hear me doing here, we were trying to do that, but the director was trying to do some other He thought he was making 7. The film has its cult of fans, with many thinking it had the teeth that Beverly Hills Cop 3 was lacking, or that it was a welcome change of pace for Eddie. So now that Axel F is out, but you'd like to see what a more intense action film with Eddie is like, give Metro a look.